What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got wonderful news. You see, we've got a bunch of news about Marvel Champions. We've had 4 hero packs confirmed, which we kind of knew were coming anyway. But we've also had the next big campaign expansion revealed, and this looks awesome. Now, starting off, this all obviously came from the Fantasy Flight Games in-flight report, but I think there's a few things we can take and add on here quite nicely. Now, they did, of course, give us a reminder that the next few packs coming out, we've got Hulk, which is launching in just a week's time at the beginning of August. In September, the first campaign expansion, The Rise of the Red Skull, is coming out. And then in October, we've got the Once and Future Kang Scenario Pack. We know about all of these. I've done videos about all of these. Links in the description. But then they went and confirmed the next 4 hero packs, and we kind of knew what these were, right? In a previous preview article, they did show us these silhouettes, and we kind of guessed this is what it was. And then we have seen some leaks from some shops, so we all knew what they were. These were kind of a very poorly kept secret. I don't say that as any kind of a negative, just everyone knew what they were. The silhouettes were kind of obvious, and then some shops leaked it. Anyone that wanted to know knew. So we've got Ant-Man, we've got Wasp, we've got Quicksilver, and we've got Scarlet Witch. And although I personally have no strong feelings towards Quicksilver, Ant-Man, Wasp, and Scarlet Witch are some of my favourite characters in the Marvel Universe. To say I'm hyped about these would be somewhat of an understatement. And we have had confirmation that they will be releasing monthly, starting with Ant-Man in November. And although they didn't lay it out explicitly, clearly what they mean by that is Ant-Man in November, Wasp in December, Quicksilver in January, and Scarlet Witch in February. Also, if we go back to the silhouettes, essentially everything has been shifted by 2 months. So you can see the Kang there should be August. It is in fact October. We can see that Ant-Man should be September. It is in fact November, etc. So I know they didn't confirm that it's going to be Ant-Man November, Wasp December, Quicksilver January, Scarlet Witch February, but they basically did. They said monthly starting in November. Combined with this silhouette, which just gets shifted by 2 months, the release dates have been shown. Now, what is slightly sad for me is that they did not show us any cards from any of those packs, which really I should be happy about because I want to make a nice video about each one that's been revealed. I don't want to just do a tiny little section on each hero in this video. Clearly it's way better to do videos about each of them as they're revealed. I'm just an impatient man that wants to know more. But we were given a little bit of a peek at the mechanics. There were basically 2 things that we were told. Firstly, we were told that cards would synergize. That is to say that Ant-Man and Wasp, who they're blatantly a team in the comics, right? They can be played out of the box, they can be played alone, but there are certain cards in their deck which synergize if 2 players at the same table in the same game are playing those 2 characters. Essentially, you're being given bonuses and more powerful cards if one player is playing Ant-Man and another player is playing the Wasp. And they did say that would be mirrored with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. So if you've got 2 players, one playing each of those characters, you will get advantages. Some cards will be more powerful. We were also told that there will be giant-sized cards for Ant-Man and Wasp, which shouldn't surprise anybody here, because Ant-Man and the Wasp can go giant. That's one of the things in the comic. So it seems like it is an Ant-Man pack, but it's also bringing in Giant Man in the same thing. Now, this wasn't confirmed. We were actually told, the phrase that was used in the in-flight report was, as you can see. No, we can't. We can't see. There was nothing on the screen. But in the latest Keyforge expansion, Mass Mutation, which is also made by Fantasy Flight Games, we did have gigantic creatures, which were essentially double cards that you put together into one creature. I would imagine that would be what they're doing with Giant Man and Giant Wasp here. I don't know. We weren't told, but we were told there will be massive cards. And if they put actual massive cards in, then you've got to have new packaging. and new production of giant cards, etc. And FFG, amongst all their games, they do make bigger cards. They might actually make different size cards, but they have shown us the packs, and the packs are the same size as all the others, so I think it's fair to assume they're going to be double cards that you put together rather than individual big cards. But then they told us about the next big expansion, Galaxy's Most Wanted. I know, right? I mean, Galaxy's Most Wanted is clearly a reference to the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it is the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, for what it's worth, we all know that what they've been doing with Marvel Champions up to now is going for Avengers. Rise of the Red Skull is very much an Avengers-y villain. And then the 4 hero packs we've been talking about, Ant-Man, Wasp, Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch, they are Avengers. So what this is essentially doing is taking Marvel Champions out of the Avengers cycle and moving them into a new Guardians of the Galaxy cycle. Now, we were told that there are going to be 2 heroes in the pack, and they are going to be Rocket Raccoon and Groot. Now, we all know there are more of the Guardians of the Galaxy than just those, and essentially, we know what the next few hero packs are going to be. I would be absolutely stunned if the next 3 hero packs weren't Star-Lord, Gamora, and Drax. There are plenty of other Guardians from the comics they can dip into, but we all know that the Guardians films are amazing, and they're extremely popular, and 2 of the 5 are in there, so it is absolutely possible, I would say probable, that the next 3 hero packs are going to be those 3 characters. I mean, we're definitely getting them at some point. And then they can dig into some of the other Guardians. And, I mean, just go watch the movies, right? Any of the good guys from those movies are probably going to get their own hero packs in the next year. But I think they are probably the next 3. It would be strange. It's like how Captain America and Thor had to be 2 of the very early hero packs in the Avengers cycle, because it's Captain America and Thor. Well, same deal here. Now, we were told there were going to be 5 scenarios, i.e. 5 villains, and we were explicitly told about the Collector and Ronin the Accuser, although we can see both of those characters on the front of the box. We can also see Nebula. So, I think it's fair to assume that Nebula is also going to be coming in as one of the scenario villains. The other 2, we have no idea. I mean, they're going to be Guardians of the Galaxy focused villains, so go look through their back catalogue, go dig into some comics, that'll give you an idea. But it seems very, very likely that Nebula will be the 3rd one, and then there are 2 which aren't even hinted at on the box, so I'm afraid I don't even really want to make any predictions here. It's very easy to go, Nebula's going to be one of the villains when she's on the box, and it's very easy to say that Star-Lord, Drax, and Gamora are going to be in upcoming hero packs, because it's the Guardians of the Galaxy. But outside of that, let's not get too reckless with our speculation. Now, it is coming out in February 2021, that has been confirmed, and that's weird. This should be March. Because we know that Scarlet Witch is coming out in February, and we know that outside of the delay for the whole pandemic thing, Marvel Champions has had monthly releases. So, I don't know what's going on here. Is Scarlet Witch going to be early February, and this is going to be late February, so there basically is a month between them? Maybe. Is Galaxy's Most Wanted actually going to come out in March? I would probably guess that it will. Marvel Champions has been doing a monthly release, and do they really want to release a big box campaign expansion in the same month as a hero pack? It's going to really outshine Scarlet Witch if they do. But I showed you the whole, I ran through the release schedule earlier. Scarlet Witch is coming in February. This is announced for February. That is really weird to me. No, they won't be pushing Scarlet Witch to release after Galaxy's Most Wanted, because clearly what they're doing here is a cycle. Scarlet Witch is ending the Avengers cycle, and Galaxy's Most Wanted is starting the Guardians of the Galaxy cycle. Although I do find it strange, they've never, as far as I'm aware, and please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about this, because I may well be, I don't remember them ever actually going, hey, we're doing an Avengers cycle, let's all play with the Avengers. Maybe I missed that somewhere. Now, we have been shown a couple of cards from this, though don't get too excited, we have been shown a couple of cards. And, I mean, the Rocket one for me, the Rocket one is amazing. You see, Rocket has got a thwart of 2, attack of 1, defense of 1, so the thwart is quite nice, but it's not phenomenal. But his skill is called I Murdered You. Now, those of you that have watched the Guardians films but not read the comics might not get this reference, but in the comics, Rocket Raccoon runs around shooting people, and every time he does, he shouts, "Blam, I murdered you." It is one of my favourite things about the Guardians comics, and I was so upset they left it out the movies. I understand why they left it out the movies, incidentally. They kind of had to. But the fact that the creators of this game are actually calling his skill I Murdered You just gives me more pause to go, you know what? The dudes making this game really get the comics, and that makes me delighted. For what it's worth, the skill says after you deal excess damage to an enemy, you draw a card. So if you take out minions and deal 5 damage to a 4 health minion, you would take it out and then draw a card. Hand size of 5 is standard, hit points of 9 is low. I'm not loving Rocket's stats if I'm honest with you, but I do like that you can draw a card after dealing damage to an enemy. So I'm looking at Rocket Raccoon and thinking, if Rocket's just taking out minions, I can use that as a bit of a draw engine, and I can use direct damage or cheeky damage cards to damage the villain, and that could work quite nicely. Groot has 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 defense, which firstly makes his stats really high, and secondly, 3 defense is huge. It's right up there with Spider-Man. And incidentally, what we've generally seen is that good characters, i.e. high stat characters, have stats that add up to 6, which Groot does. Rocket doesn't, but Groot does. So yay! And it's got a hand size of 5, which is standard, hit point of 10, which is still pretty low. But it's got a forced interrupt. When Groot would take any amount of damage, remove that many growth counters from him. For each growth counter removed in this way, prevent 1 of that damage. Now, we're really not given any information about growth counters here. I would imagine that you will be able to get some when you're in alter ego mode, and I would also imagine that you will be able to get some through cards. But I honestly don't know here. Of course, it is interesting because all the way through we've seen so far, every hero that we've seen has an actual alter ego and hero which are different. Groot and Rocket don't. They are just Groot and Rocket Raccoon, so I am interested to see what they do with the alter ego mode. We are shown nothing. Now there are a couple of other cards. There's Cluster Boots, Thruster Boots, something like that. A 1-cost upgrade that gives Rocket Raccoon an aerial trait, which is quite nice. Flora and Fauna, a 1-cost event. And We Are Groot, a 1-cost event, which does something with counters and many friend and those characters. I think we'll have to wait and see for those. So quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, it's all getting just a little bit exciting. We've got 4 hero packs confirmed. We've got the next big expansion confirmed. And I know we've got lots of questions about, are they really going to release 2 things in February? What are growth counters? How are they going to handle the alter ego mode on Groot and Rocket? What do these giant cards look like, etc.? I think there's enough for today to make us go, yeah, this game is in really good health. Everything looks good. I am psyched to play a whole bunch more Marvel Champions. And let's be clear, I am psyched to play a whole bunch more Marvel Champions. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about all of this. I want to know your predictions for future heroes and villains in the Guardians of the Galaxy cycle. And I want to know your opinion on everything that I've just shown you. So go nuts, would you, ladies and gentlemen? But be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, where we talk Marvel Champions and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun stuff. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.